All right. Red light's on. Hopefully we've got sound. Hopefully we've got two handsome, bearded, beautiful men showing up on everybody's screens to bless you all tonight. We
No,
should have a third.
I'm silver. You're like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Oh, dude, mine is. I've got two patches here and then like a little skunk stripe here of the grays going on. So
This came like overnight, like in
dude,
fierce.
yeah, in like the last 2-3 years, mine just I had none, and then just pew, 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 pew. All right, Fish and friends. Well, I am excited tonight. Got Mr. Wendell with us tonight in the beautiful looking studio over there. He's looking quite snazzy. I love it. I love it. Rico Suave.
Yeah.
We should have old Dizzle Suave. Dizzle and I went fishing today. He was a little tuckered out. We did quite a bit of walking. Dizzle is looking slim and trim. He has lost a bunch of weight today. I said I wasn't going to bring it up, but kudos to him. He's been watching his P's and Q's, and the dude looks great. I, on the other hand, still need to get my butt back into the gym. I got a little bit more padding on me than I should, but we're not here to talk about my physique. So tonight, what we are here to talk about is some YouTube fishing craziness that is Mr. Wendell, because he is a load of wealth when it comes to the kayak stuff. And I'll admit, I have went down the rabbit hole of watching a ton more of your stuff before.
Oh.
You know, you had a lot of kayak stuff, and I'd watched your videos. I knew of you. I heard of you through Gramps quite some time ago before I had you on.
Okay.
Because I think you were on his channel first when I saw you.
That might have been one of my first first podcasts with Gramps.
Yeah. I found you. Cool guy. I like the cool, down to earth, just regular anglers who are out to have fun. You know, we could all, most of the people, like the way I look at it is if I could have a brew, well, I don't drink anymore, but if I could have some sort of beverage with you around a fire and hang out and talk, that's exactly what I want. And that's the people I want to associate with, because there's some weird people out on YouTube. It's just a weird world, and it's like that way anywhere. So
It's just weird. Like, I don't know. I get, it's just me personally. I get kind of really turned off about like the drama around bass fishing. I'm like, I was like, okay. I mean, I get it. If that's your stick,
thrive on it, man.
Go with it. People thrive on it. It's like, I just don't. That's not. I don't know.
I've got
every once in a while dabble, but I mean, some people that's like they come in leading with their chin every single time. It's like, wow.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. Yeah, and sometimes it's hard for me not to like rude people that like spot hawk stuff, like that really pisses me off. Not like the tournament stuff, but I'm saying like I'm sitting here fishing and dude knowingly just comes over in front of you. I forget who it was on Instagram, showed one. And of course those videos do great. Any sort of drama, you know, showing those.
I got a million once on some recreational kayak. Actually, it wasn't a recreational kayaker. It was actually a kayaker with a rod sticking on his back. And it was me and I'm maybe 25 feet from the shore, and just, and the only question I asked was, what would you do? And it went over 1 million on Facebook.
Dude,
there was a thread over 100 long just talking about my Chaco sandals. I mean, it was just, it went wild.
Dude, yeah, it's weird the stuff that people get on and like fixated on. Like there was one I had a pair of old, like I just got done playing basketball at the gym and I had on like my purple socks in a video, and oh my god, the hate I got for having purple socks, and like, oh, listen to a bass fishing guy wearing purple socks. This guy needs to go, you know, do whatever. It's like, man,
wear Chacos once. People call them, you know, my wife's sandals and so forth. The guys bass tremble at the sight of my Chacos.
Lord,
I'm telling you what, man, those things are delicious.
People just need to get a life sometimes. But listen, we're going to try to keep it fun and happy here tonight. It's what we try to do here as much as we can. So I compiled a few list of questions for Mr. Wendell. I will give an update. And of course, I do want to always appreciate and shout out my members, just like Coolid, Mr. Rob Harrison, Scott Vermonter, all you guys and gals who spend your hard-earned money to support my ugly face on here. What in the heck are you doing? You guys need to get your priorities straight. But I will say I appreciate the hell out of y'all. And even if you're not a member, it doesn't matter. I appreciate everybody that comes and watches. I always like to call that out, because without y'all, we would be nothing. Our YouTubes would be pointless. I had a couple people ask me, I forgot to ping it, the question, but somebody asked me, did we find any of my combos? So I was talking to Darren before, and I haven't found them. So the
Two
problem was
$2,000.
$2,000.
Woo!
Yeah. Honestly, so yeah, so the quick of it is I was in a place that was super scummy, super weedy, and I was just pushing this barge in front of me because I couldn't use my pedals. So I was trying to paddle and just pushing this barge of stuff, and it was so hard and heavy. So I was using my paddle. I see Steven's in here. I say "or" too often, and he corrects me all the time. My paddle was cutting the stuff off, and on my right side, I've now fixed this. On the right side, back toward me closer is my graph,
Yeah.
and I have it on like one of those bendy arm things, so it's kind of out, like where you can like unscrew it, and like I kind of kick it out here because I've got really long legs. I'm 6'1", and I'm probably 3/4 of my body is legs.
Just a yak
Um,
attack arm, right? You have one of
yeah,
those.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's just bent out like I've done this, so it's kind of out of my knee
sure.
range. So I was out around the side of that trying to cut that stuff off and pull it off. And as I pushed it back, this stuff is so heavy. It's that real spongy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I did that, and my paddle, it's I think bending branches or something,
Oh,
but it's
yeah,
got like
nice
a
one.
little it's got like a little hook on it, like to get
Oh,
your line of
you
stuff.
couldn't pull it out.
Yeah, and as I pushed that stuff out, my oar went with it, and I reached to grab it, and that was all it took. And
Oh,
like it was like
man.
in slow motion. I was like grabbing for something. I'm like, no, it was just like I swear, if anybody watched me, I was going,
Were you videoing?
no, I was done for the day. Had a great day of fishing. Was started out horrible. Finally figured out the bite. Catching them on a crankbait. It was amazing. Probably got 25, 30
Oh,
fish.
dang. You were on them.
All dinks. Yeah, I mean, all dink. A bunch of pound and a halfers, which is common for my neck of the woods, for me, I guess, anyway. Great day of fishing. Super happy. Was paddling back. Had already turned off my camera and everything, and burn up my GoPro. I still use the old GoPro 4s where there's a mic input into it.
4.
Yeah.
That's
I've,
OG.
I've got 2 of those, man. The audio is so good. I can't see getting rid of them.
I
So
have a 7 black that I'm like, okay, I thought I thought I was
yeah,
using an old one, but
I'm
4.
back to the old backup one now. And it still works. It's fine. So yeah, in doing so, $2,000 worth of gear once you total it all up down. Somehow my crate stayed in because my crate didn't have a top. That
Okay.
stayed in, and all my boxes and everything did. But yeah, I lost the rods. So I
Well, tell
really
me about your graph. That's what I'm worried about.
graph was fine. Graph is good.
I
I
always
didn't know.
wondered that.
I
If
did.
I dumped it, now obviously it's waterproof, so you gotta flip it over quick, but I wonder if it would like short out or something weird.
Yeah,
All
mine
right.
was not quick. I was probably 80 to 100 feet from the dock, and it was me because as soon as I flipped, my net like pulled back to me because I've got a longer handle net, 30-inch or something like that. Pushed back to me, I grabbed that in my oar and was holding on to the top of my kayak and was like using like just the front end of my oar, holding it like that to like propel me, and then just butterfly kicking
Oh,
underneath.
you didn't write it. You just dragged
I
it to
couldn't.
shore.
Yeah, I couldn't. I didn't. I had no way of doing it. I didn't have the straps on it. I tried getting up on top of it. Nope. So I just
I'm glad
butterfly.
you're all right. I can laugh about it now because you're
Yeah.
fine, but
And that stuff was so heavy. That's what I was thinking. Like if I wouldn't have had, like if it would have been somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, like that could have been super dangerous. Like you could very easily drown because that every time I would try to move, that super heavy, mossy, spongy stuff would get on you.
it's like
And it's so
quicksand.
hard to lift. So then, yeah, then you're trying to like get that off. And yeah, but it made me think like as much I lost as much gear in there, or the amount of gear I lost in there was more than my entire kayak. And I'm
Kayak. Ugh.
like,
What's
I'm
the
an idiot.
thing that
Why
you
am I?
lost that you're like, that's the one thing I wish I had back?
I don't know. All of it makes me sick. All of it.
Well, good thing I look into your background. You got backups. You got
I do
backup.
have backup. Somebody was asking me if I've purchased stuff. Actually, that's probably the one I miss the most is my frog combo.
Okay.
Because I went back to a few other ones, and in the kayak, I was using the Kistler KLX. Doesn't matter what rod, but a rod that has a shorter butt section for frogging
Okay.
has been game changer for me in the kayak. So I always hit my PFD,
Right.
like because I've got the
Yeah. Which one do you run?
Chinook, I think it
Chinook,
is.
NRS? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
I'm
kind of got the bulgy parts here. Yeah, and every time I was hitting that, so that's probably the biggest one. But yeah, I didn't find any of it dead, and I went back the next day, and he was like, "Dude, this is way thicker crap than I even thought you were talking about." So,
How deep was it?
like 8 feet.
Ah, crap. That's like
Yeah,
the worst too.
and
It's
it's
like
like, yeah,
just
it's right there. You know, it's right there.
yeah.
But
You can't
yeah,
touch it with your feet. You have to literally dive for it.
Yep. And you try dragging anything in there, it's just like muck as soon as you start doing anything. So, but yeah, that was my experience. We didn't get any of it. Somebody was asking if I got some stuff. I went on American Legacy and was looking at their used stuff. I did get a used Tatula 150, which are absolute bullets. Love those reels for, I think, $90. They had a
Oh,
sale.
okay.
And it was in excellent condition. It's like brand new butter. And I got a 6 cents frog rod that is kind of a piece of garbage. So wasn't pleased with that at all. The threads, the real threads on it, it's probably got like 3 to 4 inches worth of, like where your reel nut tightens down,
Yeah.
probably 3 to 4 inches worth of threads sticking up above, and it barely tightens on to the reel because it's all the
Fascinating.
way at the bottom.
Huh.
So yeah, I don't know. It must have been a defect one, but I guess that's why I got it used for $80. But okay, so anyway, we're not here to talk about me. I want to pick your brain because you're having a great year fishing. I
I'm
also
having
want to
the best year of my freaking life. I don't know what is going on.
I'm gonna hold that because I know we've got a bunch of kayak enthusiasts in here. Not all of you are kayak lovers. I'm a recent convert, so we're not going to only talk kayak fishing stuff. But I want to hold that until later. We'll be doing a giveaway about an hour in. I've clearly got more gear than I need, so I'm trying to help out some other folks out there. I'm blessed to have all this, so I want to share it. So I'll be doing a giveaway. Okay, but first question. So talking about the kayak mishap, and this
Yeah.
doesn't have to be safety. This is just as you're getting into the kayak fishing game, you've been in it for a long time. Let's say new person, this is their first year doing it. What do you think is the most important kayak accessory for a beginner? So not necessarily
Accessory
safety.
for a
Yeah.
beginner.
If you're like this, if you get this, it'll make your life easier. Or like
Oh,
I'm saying, like life jacket, yes, you need one. Paddle, obviously that kind of stuff is kind of granted. But what is one thing that you're like, I highly recommend this for getting into it. It's not a waste of money.
yeah. And interesting enough, 10 hours ago, I posted a video called Essential Kayak Fishing Gear, 6
I
items I swear by.
did see that. Yeah. But I want
Yeah.
to know for what's number one? You've got a bunch of essentials, but what's number one that you're like,
I use every time and it makes everything so much more enjoyable.
yes.
My fish finder. And it's not FFS. It's my side scan. So I have a Garmin UHD 92 SV. So the 92 version is the one without inland maps. But it has side scan on it. And so this year, I mean, I'm typically just a guy that would just beat up the banks, right? And I would do really great in the spring and really great in the fall. And then in the summer, every once in a while, I'd crank out a nice one. But this year I was like, you know what? I'm really going to dive into learning how to read and how to utilize my fish finder because I do polls all the time on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
How many people use a fish finder? Over 50% of kayakers don't have a fish finder. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a bunch more videos on it. Those have done well. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna double down this upcoming winter. It's gonna be my winter project.
Okay.
But
I like it.
I started throwing out my side scan about 100 feet on both sides. Like what? And I fish a lot of lakes around here, and I fish them often. And it's like a whole new freaking world was revealed to me. So I throw it 100. I'm finding all this structure on the bottom that I never knew was ever there because either I would just be blind casting or I'd have some type of clue. It's like a little branch sticking up. There must be something below, but I don't know if it's going left or right or if it's 20 feet that way or the trunk goes out this way. And now I could see it all. I was like, okay.
So you didn't have the side scan before, or just didn't use it?
No, I just had a Garmin Striker 4.
Oh,
so
okay.
I upgraded from the Striker 4 because that's just showing me what's below me. Got side scan and it changed the freaking game. In this past 2 months, I got my personal best like 3 weeks ago, and then this past week I got the second biggest bass of my life, and I mean 20s almost every time I'm going out.
Dude, I've seen. I don't understand what you're putting on the board because I still can't comprehend measuring a bass. It doesn't click for me. But sometimes you talk weights, and I like that because then I understand how big these fish are. But yeah, I've seen you catching some absolute toads, dude.
Yeah. So that mean 20s, 22s, up course closer to 23, and we're looking anywhere from 4.5 to 7 pounds. Those, I mean, and they're just. I've never been able to catch them consistently. Every once in a while, I used to latch onto one, but I've dialed them in. So that fish finder changed the game. And I know a lot of people out there like, one, it's not my budget. I get it. they're expensive. This is the
Yep.
thing that I decided to go all in on a long time ago. So I continue to upgrade and upgrade and upgrade all my stuff. So I started with a Garmin Striker 4. Things are what, $140 and a real cheap battery. So for $200, I got into the fish finder game. And two, a lot of people are like, hey, I don't want to do the electronics thing. You do you. I'm not trying to talk you into it, but if you want
Right.
to start catching
That's my opinion.
fish specifically in the summer, I'm telling you, a side scan unit changed the game for me. And I have a feeling that it would for you if you actually knew what was 10 feet, 20 feet, 15 feet below the water that you never knew was there on your favorite lakes.
I completely agree. I've had a couple days this year, and I'm horrible with electronics. Liza just said, I'm kind of with her. I look at stuff on my fish finder, pretty colors, stuff in the water, no clue what I'm looking at. Liza, I'm the same way, and I've put more of a concentrated effort this year. And there's been I think of specifically 3 days that I can call out where I was like, okay, I see this. I'm gonna focus on this structure and completely changed the day. And I'm awful with it. So just for those handful of times, I completely agree. I want to put in more time with it. I know a lot of people just use it for depth, temperature, that kind of stuff. It's great for that. But yeah, if you can bump up a little, and I don't think mine was that much. I've got the Lowrance, is it the Hook 9? I think
Okay.
is what it's called. It's got the down and side scan. But it's not that expensive. I think on sale for like 400 maybe.
Okay.
And I know people are saying, "Well, 400 is expensive." Yeah, but when you can spend 3, 4, 5,000 on this stuff,
Yeah.
400 is not expensive.
Big facts.
Yeah. So I completely agree. Great point on that. I do want to call out losing big fish, throwing in the 5 bomb. I will drink to that. Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'll
Rip
drink
the
to that.
frog combo.
Cheers.
Yeah, that was my the Kistler KLX, the specific frog and toad. Love that rod. I'm gonna have to figure out how to replace that. What I'm gonna use. I want to try some other stuff. And that was the Revo SX, the Rocket, the new one. I really like that reel too. So
Ooh, nice.
what do you do? So thank you for that.
You hear about the Eagle Eye 9? That new
I
juice that
did.
came out of ICAST?
I have seen that. Yes, it's what, 1,000, and it's
Yeah.
got forward facing sonar and all the stuff. I am horrible at understanding any of that. But from what I understand, it's got like a cone or something. So it's like got a smaller focus, more of like so it's not as
Yeah.
crazy as the more
Did a
expensive ones.
did a video on this. So typical forward facing sonar is going to cost you around $3,000, potentially more.
Mhm.
And so how can Lowrance put out a unit for $999? Well, at the end of the day, it you're just getting a narrower cone. So typically there's 3 arrays that go off the front, another 3 arrays that show down. And out of the 6, you're actually only getting 2. And so but you might not need all 6. I mean, you're a kayak angler. That might be a perfect. I think it hasn't been confirmed. Someone told me they're at ICAST and they said that degree of angle is 35 degrees. So you're going to see 35 degrees out, and then you're going to be able to see like a 35-degree cone down. When typically you would have 135 degrees of visibility.
Oh wow.
And so it's limited, but it's also
Only $1,000.
it's also not $3,000, which
Right.
most people are like, yeah. And by most people, I mean me. That's outside of my price range / wanting it.
Yeah, it might be something I save up and look at, because like it would be really fun for ice fishing, because somebody said, I forget who it was, Southeast Georgia, said electronics allow you not to fish dead water. And for ice fishing, like I've fished with guys with live scope, and it's crazy. I mean, oh, hey, there's fish over there 60 feet. We need to go that way, instead of just blindly drilling 8,000 holes and looking in each hole. Like, but yeah, it's expensive, man. It's expensive. So hopefully that's a trend that we see, is that stuff keep coming down, because that would be good.
Well,
Okay.
years ago, Garmin actually came out with something that was like that. However, the problem was it was only compatible with their higher end units. And by the time you were up there in that price range, you got the unit and had a cheaper FFS. Well, you might as well just spend the extra $600-700 and get the full unit, right?
Right.
But Lowrance is something the market hasn't seen yet, right? They put that sonar cones on a unit that's actually affordable and made it under $1,000. So pretty impressive. The only thing you trade off for it doesn't have side scan, folks. So you'll be giving up side scan or you have to run 2 units in order to have the forward-facing sonar. So interesting.
That's
Just
an
interesting.
interesting call. Yeah. Mauricio in the house. He said he just got side scan. Make the trip next week. Awesome, dude. Good luck.
They're on the move right now.
Down south.
At least where I'm at.
He's clear down in Brazil, but they're pretty. I think if we talked last time, pretty comparable in temperature to us. So, the wet dog smell. 75% of my lakes are just boring mud bottom. You'd be surprised how many pieces of structure, tires, and little things that you find.
Yeah.
That one little difference can hold them.
I mean, that's
Liza?
all you need. It only needs to be like a brick down there. Just
Right.
the one thing that looks different than the muddy bottom, they're going to be holding up to that.
Something to relate to and stick their nose on and
Yeah.
feel safe. I agree with Liza. That's something I would like to do, is get with like a big pro, that's super, super dialed in with that stuff, and just, pay him, I don't know, a few $100 and just learn, really sit down and learn with somebody. I completely agree.
100%. Oh, it's unbelievable how many people, when I poll that question, do you have a fish finder? People will tell me, oh, I just use it for depth and water temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you really look at it, maybe only 20% people have fish finders who actually know how to utilize them to their advantage. It's pretty low.
Intimidating. It's intimidating to figure it out and learn it. Like, even me, like I had even, because I had the exact same one on my John boat, that I've had for, I don't know, 6-7 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would use it and then I would just get frustrated. I'm like, I don't get these settings. I really don't understand like where this is, like, oh, and that's something I'm really bad at with side scan, is like, I'll go buy it and see it. And I'm really bad at picturing, okay, how far exactly is 60 yards and where was that again, without going back and forth over it 87 times to figure out. I need like the old buoys. Remember back in the old days with the lead weights and the rope, you throw your buoy and it would unravel. And
I still roll with that.
That's what I need to do.
So I'm cruising, I have NK 180 on my kayak. So I'll cruise at 5.7, I think it's 4.7 miles an hour. If I see something, I'm quickly grabbing that out of my Yak Attack cup holder and I just throw it. It'll be behind me, whether it's 20 or 30 feet. And I'm like, all right, by the time I flip my kayak around, I would have never found that spot again.
Hey, too soon. Let's not use those words. By the time you flip your kayak around, watch it.
Painful still, huh?
Yeah, hurts.
I have yet to flip my kayak. I always tell people it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So I know my time's coming. I just don't know when that's going to be.
Well, don't try to undo a big, huge algae moss load in the front with your oar, because it doesn't turn out well.
Noted.
Malone wants to know, what's your PB, Darren?
It's actually in Ohio, it's 7.05 pounds. So I was a 22.75.
I like it. That's a tank for around here.
Yeah, for Ohio, those, I mean, they get bigger. Interesting enough, I was talking to my buddy. I was on the lake this morning. Picked up 5, 120.5. That's not too bad. But he was telling me that on this lake that I fish around here, that the DNR just got done doing electroshock on it. And he was finding this information out by a local tackle shop. And they said, actually, in this lake, that it actually holds, they shocked up a bass that's the state record. Mm-hmm. It lives in there.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't get that out of my mind. Now, did the DNR take it so they can dissect it and study its genes? I don't know the rest of the story. And it might not even be true.
Right.
Fisherman,
really
right?
Yeah.
But
oh, dude, this was a huge one. Did you
weigh it?
No, but I know by looking at it.
Yeah, I know that someone, game a telephone 15 people later. They found that it'd be over 13 pounds here in Ohio. That is a
damn. Yeah, that's a horse.
Yeah.
See Jim in the house, Mr. Tackle Junkie. What's up, my man? Still need to get you on one soon when you're not working so damn much. We already kind of covered number 2, because I was going to go over what is, and maybe this isn't, well, you kind of answered it that way. I was going to say, what is your personal favorite accessory if it didn't match the, maybe it's a different answer. What's your favorite, like, little type? Let's go with that. Your little favorite add-on, like something that you,
like tiny one, like under $20.
Yeah. Let's say $50, under $50. What was your favorite, like, add-on that you were like, I use it all the time. It's great.
The Yak Attack cup holder.
I
have 2 of them. I roll them.
Same. So I put one on each side by my handle. Yeah.
So one of them holds my buoy, and it also holds my my grip clips. And my kayak's kind of different. It's got something called a quick draw handle, so it holds the right next to my seat. You can
You grab your handle, you have to do it like this every time.
I know, right? So ridiculous.
I'm an idiot.
So you got
I'm an
it's
idiot.
got the paddle there, and I run it really far in the back, so it's got to sit on top of that holder. So it's got like a lot of uses. I got a 3D printed from 3D Yak is on there, so it holds a bunch of things. And then I have another one over here. It holds my NOS half the time, or Mountain Dew, the energy drink. Yeah. And what I love about it, it's just like there's not a lot of real estate on the kayak, right? My center console, I'm constantly flipping up and down because it's my pedal drive. And so if I put anything there, it ends up on my floor and falling out my scupper holes because I leave them open during the summer. And so it's just a good place to put, hey, this bass ripped off the tail of this lure. Instead of throwing it in the center and end up stepping on it, I just throw it in the cup holder. I was like, oh, then I just grab them all when I get home. I don't know. It's just those little spaces that make things. I mean, I
agree.
$20, man.
I put 2 on mine. Same thing. I have my Gatorade because mine has the like the little molded in hole that'll hold like this or a can, but it's not big enough to hold a Gatorade, and that's usually what I always take. So I've got one of those for my Gatorade, and the other one is my lure graveyard to make sure they dry out through the day before I put them away.
Yes.
So
I just came up with the idea. I wish I need someone to make this. They need to make a cup holder. It's like insulated, right?
Okay.
So when you put your can of soda in there and you're especially in the hot sun, it stays cool.
Yes.
I mean, granted, I could probably put my own in there, but wouldn't it be sweet if they made one?
Well, they've got actually, that's a really good point. Have you seen those? And maybe it would fit in there. It probably wouldn't, but they have like those can koozies now where you can unscrew the top, put your can in, then screw the top over it, and it's like insulated.
That. I could probably do that. Cool. They're wide enough. You know what? Yak Attack makes a good one, but the best, in my opinion, cup holder out there is made by Yak Hacker, and it's the one with the little rubber inserts. And so whether you have something big or small, it'll stick in there without shaking around. So that's actually my favorite.
That's smart. Yeah, because my coffee because I'll get like the Starbucks thing in the morning, the like the can, of whatever it is, Starbucks can or whatever. Triple it's like shot. A bigger, and put that in there and it's sloshing around as I'm moving. Yeah, that's a good point. Gator says, I believe that all DNR shocking stories are the same. State record. I've heard that too, because there was somebody actually a couple years ago. We were talking about that on one of the lakes. It was actually about muskie, but yeah, it was a world record, or some bull crap like that. But
what I need to do is do a ride along. I need to call the DNR that, hey, next time you go out and start electroshocking, that'd be a fascinating video, to be honest with you, to see what comes up.
Yeah, that would be fun. I know there's been YouTubers, obviously that have done that, but let's see. I recently bought horizontal rod holders, and they're great to have.
Like rod stagers? Yeah.
I'm not sure what he meant.
The rod stagers.
Or if it just meant actual, like some sort of rod holder. Maybe he was just laying them down before.
All right.
Dubro Fishing just came out with a cup. Oh, that's actually, I thought he mistyped Debo. Dubro Fishing just came out with a cup holder. Check them out. They're awesome.
All right, I'm gonna check it out.
Did they rip off my name? Were they trying to be like Debo, but instead they put Dubro?
I don't even know. I'm gonna look up Dubro Fishing, see what comes up right now. All right.
Oh, Cooler Lid said yes, Rod Stagers, Darren.
All right. Yeah, there's actually a Dubro products. Dubro Fishing.
Never heard of such a thing.
This is the first time I've ever been here. Oh, it looks like they do 3D printed ish looking like fishing accessories. All right. That's new to me.
Old Dubro. Next question for you. I'm interested to see, because you've been in the game for a long time. You're a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this stuff. Thank you for all the videos, by the way. I do believe you are a good positive influence on the kayak community.
Appreciate that.
And I did also want to call out, because I made my own, I think I called this out on your channel. I made my own crate with top and everything after my latest tip experience. But Bearded Dad Fishing, if y'all are looking to save some money instead of buying, which I'm not trying to not sell you on a Yak Attack. I think that's who makes them, the crates, because they look super nice. But if you don't want to spend $140, I made mine for under $40. with rod retention straps, with a top, with a latch. It's
Heck
got like
yeah.
the Yeti type of rubber latch on it. It was awesome. Take it out and testing it. So, okay. So, sir, kayak
Yeah.
fishing in 10 years, where do you see it going? Trends, changes? The reason I ask, there's, again, going back to the whole negative drama, right? So we saw from ICAST this year, there's a whole bunch of drama around that boat's so big it's not a kayak. Now, me personally, coming from a John boat background, the number one most important thing for me when I was looking at kayaks, which is why I was going to get the native Titan,
Mm-hmm.
is stability, hands
Yeah.
down. I don't care if it's a little big, like as long as I can manually get it in and out of my truck without like killing myself, which mine is super easy. I mean, I've got the bed extender and not an issue at all. As long as you have the wheels on it. If you
Yeah.
didn't have those, that would be horrible. But my number one, hands down, is stability. So all these people saying this, I wonder where they come from, like a fishing background. So that's kind of my take on it. Is if they get bigger, I'm not mad about that because clearly I have bad balance and I can't even survive a full year in mine without tipping over. So,
Right.
what do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Big boats. Let's start there first. Big boats, that trend, and then trend of 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna poke the bear, I guess.
It's one of those things that you're not poking the bear makes. I don't care, right? Because if they're creating them, if these companies are creating them, it means there's a market for them, right? They're going to sell them because
I think
they
that makes
know.
sense. Yeah, I don't think it's poking the bear. It's
Yeah,
like,
they know the number
why do
one
people
thing
want
people
that
are
then?
looking for: stability. I've
Yeah.
had the bearded paddler on. He sells hundreds, if not, they sell thousands of these things a year. The number one question is, I don't want to flip over, right? I don't want to lose $3,000. My buddy lost $1,000 combo, and so number one fear is people just don't want to flip over. So stability. So
Shut up,
I
Steven.
actually see that growing. I really
Okay.
do.
I'm
Wider.
not mad at that.
I met a guy this morning. He had this super wide, like catamaran style thing. So, I think river fishing is going to pick up. I can definitely see kayak river fishing because I'm already starting to see it. A lot of people are kind of moving over there.
What do you mean,
river.
like kayaks, like tailored more toward river stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean it's already going there. I mean you got so many different kayaks, but I see more people moving and over from lakes over to rivers. And I mean lakes are getting crowded, and that's where a lot of drama takes place, right? You got boat ramp drama, you got people running in front of your spot drama. It's just like drama left and right, FFS drama, none of which you have if you're on the river typically, because if you're rolling down the river, you usually everyone's moving at the same speed, right? Moving down it. So if you might pass maybe one or two people so if you're looking for that isolation, and people really like that smallmouth bite a lot of the times as well, it's a great fight. I see a lot of people moving over there. A lot of people. Soon there'll be giant live scope screens. You can just float and fish off the screens.
That'd be pretty sweet. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah. I think the issue you're going to run into when these boats get bigger and bigger and kayaks get bigger and bigger, we got to figure out a way to make them lighter and lighter. And so, carbon.
Was it Gramps, I think, just said here.
What do you
Maybe
say?
not necessarily towards the bigger problem, but inflatables.
Yeah.
People I've seen testing out those.
Dude, they've come a long way. I have a Wilderness Systems IATAK. And I mean, these things they're tough, right? They're drop stitch. So, I mean, you can fill them up super high PSI and they're like rock hard. And mine actually has like a hull on it that's welded into it. It's pretty impressive. It really is. And so I can see the evolution of the inflatable kayak, right? Not just kind of this flat bottom type thing, but they're starting to get 2 or 3 chambers. I know a lot of people are freaking out because someone actually told me a story. I would never buy an inflatable kayak because my buddy died because his was only 1 chamber and got one of the cheap ones, and they got a hole in it while I was out in open water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know the full story on that, but nonetheless, there's multiple chambers to cut down on that type of stuff. So I see that. And I think like anything else, it'll go really, really big. It's too big, and everyone will be like, "Oh, let's go small again." And
it's like cell phones. I can see it being like cell phones.
Exactly.
Oh, now we're too small. Now it doesn't float. Keep going back up.
I see that. I see it happening. I really believe that a lot of people don't like the maintenance and the gas and so forth of boats. And so
Yeah, for
I
kayak,
always
yeah.
see that
Throw it in my
kayak
truck, and
fishing,
at the end of the day, done.
right, done. Especially when you can get an electric motor over there and it's going to move it pretty fast. I mean, I'm probably the fastest thing on my trolling lake right now. I mean, if it's me in a
Wow.
boat pulling, I can beat him to the spot. If I, you know what I mean? Anywhere. There's no one faster on the lake than me. And I only have, NK 180. And so it's kind of nice. You get speed on the trolling only lakes. You don't have to winterize it. You don't have to have a really huge place to store it. And so you don't have to have a buddy. Um, you know what I mean? If you don't like backing in and just a big old boat and oil changes and all that stuff, I think it's going to be on the rise. Now, of course, it's come down since COVID, but I still think it's going to have a steady growth to it. I
Yeah,
hope
I
so.
agree.
I'm all in on it.
I agree. And yeah, and I think it's only going to be prices, the prices that we've seen of things, talking to Mike Dove from Thunderhawk, he was sharing his story back when he bought his boat, talking to prices and like buying a fully loaded boat in like I think late 90s, 30,000. It's like, that was ridiculous. Now you're looking at a fully loaded bass boat for what, 70, 80,000, if not way more.
Some push 100.
Yeah, 100,000. Like, it's just, whereas a kayak, I bought a used kayak for under 2,000, and it has been amazing.
Yeah.
I've loved it. So
You were not a believer a few shows back. It's probably over a year ago. And so you've really
well,
flipped the switch on that.
yes. So, and again, going back to the thing of, if I had the room for my John boat, I still would prefer a John boat over the kayak, to be
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
But I just don't have the room. And with the neighbors stuff and like trying to back a trailer in when there's a bunch of cars out and storing it, I don't have enough land to be able to just put it in my garage and back. I don't have that. If I had that, yeah, I would just have probably like a 16-foot John boat, little gas motor on it, and I would love that, because you can get most of the places around here that you can a kayak, not all of them, but
Yeah.
because I like to fish standing up, and my little 11.5-foot John boat, I can stand in the middle, but like, I like a bit, a casting deck, something
Right.
decently safe. But yeah, for what do we have around here and storage of it and stuff, man, there's no maintenance. It's throw it in the back of my truck. I get home, wheel it in. So yeah, I've honestly fell in love with that part of it. That's 1,000 times better than messing with a boat in those
Yeah.
situations.
And I love
So,
inflatables for those who are like, hey, I love fishing. However, I live in an apartment. Right.
or I only have a car. I don't have
Yeah, I
anything
only
to
have a
pull.
car. I don't have some truck to throw it in the bed, or it is it'd be too heavy. So I mean, it's really bridging the gap for a lot of people who are like, I want to be out there. I don't want to be stuck on the bank. And so there's a lot of options.
Basilisk, that's enough of that talk. That stuff will get you banned. We got wise guys. We got wise guys in here. Okay, so let's switch away from the kayak stuff. And if there's anything kayak related you want to bring up or anything, like I said, you're a wealth of knowledge. I appreciate you, man. So feel free to throw that in here. But we touched on it earlier. You said this has been one of the best years for fishing. We've seen the toads you've been catching. So I'm going to start out with asking, what has been your best lure of the year? Now, I know if Dizzle was on, his ears would have light up when you're going to tell this, but what's been your best lure? I want you to go through that and take us through the combo that you like to fish it on, since it's been so successful.
Yeah. So this is it right here. This is the juice. This is a all-terrain tackle swim jig.
Dude, all terrain, shout out, man.
Look at that. So
that's not the Grassmaster though. I was hoping it was the Grassmaster, unless they've changed it.
no, this thing is it's so fast through the water. So of course, swim jigs, if you haven't fished them, a lot of people don't. So it's a lighter weed guard, right? The hook, it's a stout hook, but it's not like a jig hook. So it's, they're hitting this thing typically in motion. So it's almost like a chatterbait size hook. And I have a Straight King Rage Tail 3.75, and I have one of two colors I put on this. So I'm either going to be throwing, get these at Walmart, guys. Whenever I get them at Walmart, I buy all of them. So if you're anywhere in Ohio and I've been to that Walmart, you're not going to find these, because I rip through them pretty fast, and I'll share why in a moment. This is the Ghost Shad, and the one that I think I've got 20 over 20 this year, over 20 inches. I know, right? Stupid. And the
I've
majority of
even
them
broke 5 pounds this year yet.
are on this guy right here. And so the other color I like, and it's gonna be like I don't know if you guys can see it really well. It's gonna be like a silver bottom and like a green top. It's called KVD Magic. And this on 20-pound fluorocarbon. I fish it on my jig rod with anything faster than a 7 on the gear, 7-to-1 gear ratio. And I'll throw this out after I side scan, right? I'll find some underwater stumps, whatever it may be. I'll let this fall just like you would a chatterbait all the way to the bottom. The beauty of this is that the tails on these are really thin.
Pretty aggressive kick to it.
They're tiny thin. Now, the downside of that is a lot of times small bass will grab onto it and I'll set the hook and I'll get it back and it's missing its tail. However, just on the fall, this tail is going crazy. So I'll get hits just as this thing's falling down because the action of that tail is just freaking delicious. And then I'll just pop, let it fall. And that tail does its thing. Pop, all the way back to me. And for whatever reason, the bigs love this. This is it. This is the magic. This is the reason I have 20 over 20 inches. And so that's 20 over 4 pounds. But this didn't catch my PB. This caught the majority of the rest, but did not catch my PB.
Oh, I thought that one came on.
No. This one's caught probably 15 of my biggest bass this year. It's stupid. So check them out. All terrain tackle. I'm getting low because I keep losing. I'm down to 2. So I need to get some more before the Knucklehead tournament here in October. But nonetheless, and I put a little bit of, the old trick, put a little bit of
Sorry, I was looking at somebody and I were talking about the ugly stick carbons beforehand. So I was looking at
go.
Solid rod. People talk crap about ugly stick. Dude, the carbons are solid sticks. 24-ton blank, $90. Get them on sale. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Put a little bit of super glue on there, and this thing kills it. So
this one. So this is the one.
Yeah. Looks like. Yeah. No. It's a little different. So go back. That must be like a newer version. It looks similar to that. I feel like the nose on mine. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's it right there. Okay. Yeah. I actually clip off that rubber weed guard.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. I use the green pumpkin, I believe.
I appreciate you shouting them out because when I first got back into fishing, been 10 years ago now at this point, this jig absolutely crushed it for me. Probably one of the most weedless bullet jigs. And it gets a crap rating, and I don't know.
Just one person who was, lost it on something. But
yeah. But I mean, I really don't use them anymore. Kind of sad, but yeah, dude, getting back into it, I was just crushing them on that one.
Oh yeah, this is a 1/2 ounce, by the way. If anybody's like, hey, because they come in 3/8, 1/2, 3/4, 1. That's a really heavy swim jig. 1 ounce, dang. Typically they top off at a 1/2 ounce. These things are getting super weighty.
Yeah, that's the Grassmaster, man. I think they use them for punching and around the
okay.
Stuff. Yeah, just I mean the weedlessness of it is, I loved it.
Yeah. So you got that one, and then my
PB. What's the PB one?
PB. This is so funny. I was talking to. Do you know the Creek Crawler?
Mm-mm.
You follow him? He's a guy from Ohio, and he was like, "Bro, if you tell me that you caught your PB on a freaking wacky worm, I'm unsubscribing from you." So I was like, "No, wasn't the wacky worm. This stupid thing."
Oh, hey, you're the reason. Actually, I was just messing with these. You're the reason. Do I have them here? I picked up some of these. Was last year watching.
Oh yeah. So this is a 3.5 inch Yamamoto Yamatanuki. Looks like a freaking upside down bowling pin, and you put a 5/0 hook on it. And the problem is,
use a screw lock or a EWG.
You know what? I use an EWG, and the hack that I use is I'm taking this Field and Stream, this guy right here. And I don't know if you can even buy anymore. I found one on eBay because someone was asking me about it because I share it. But basically take a O-ring, put it on your Field and Stream expander tool, and this will make your Yamatanuki last like 10 times longer. And so you take it, flip it over the end, just like that. And then what you do is you run your EWG hook there, because this thing, I mean, it's made like all their other soft plastics are, so it's absolutely just half of it's salt. And so it'll maybe last.
Again, there's a point for that. People
maybe
that
2.
gripe about it, and there's a point to it.
Yeah, there's. I mean, they work. That's why they spent $80 on 100 worms, because there is a noticeable difference, folks. And so this will make this thing last literally 10 times longer. So that's what I do on those.
Okay, yeah, I've never tried that.
I fish them 5 ways. And I'll say the best for last. So you can they skip really well, right? So you skip them under the trees. They skip well. A lot of times when I see riprap, a lot of people would be pulling for their square bill crankbait. I'm actually pulling this guy out because they fall. When they fall, they do like this action.
And there's just a little jiggle of the tail back.
Yeah, a little jiggle of the tail. And then when you hit the bottom, usually I just go pop, and this tail just goes wild through the water. Pop, 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 pop. And it's just like, it's this erratic movement, and the bass just love it. I fish it actually in lily pads. And so if it's intermittent lily pads, I'll throw this out. And because it has that blunt tip, it'll actually catch on the lily pads and start kicking left and right. And it just gets bit where I'm at here in Ohio. So I fish it there. And of course, when you hit a hole, it does the falling action, real slow falling action, and it gets bit that way. So I skip it, fish in lily pads, steep structure. But the number one, and how I caught my personal best, is I will throw this into heavy cover. So that giant lay down tree that's been laying there for 3 years, it's nothing but sticks. And a lot of times
dare you say find wood, pitch to wood? I approve this message.
There you go. A lot of times I would just throw my jig in there. And what'll typically happen is I'll get it stuck. Then I'll go in and have to ruin the hole. And I'll come back. Yeah, I'll blow the spot out and have to come back 30 minutes later. With this, the blunt end catches it and it kicks over, and this tail flies over, and then it falls down in the hole. And it was probably 7 feet where I was. I threw it in there, kicked over a branch, let it fall into a hole I think I know is there, and boom, the 7-pounder just smashed it. And almost lost it because he got me tangled up down there, but I was able to pull him out. But that's always on the Yamatanuki. That caught a lot of fish pitching this thing into laydowns.
That's funny. Yeah, you are 100% the reason I got those. I was we've seen the influx of companies adding, skirting material, taking this kind of stuff and adding it to soft plastic. So that's what I actually did, was added skirting material to my Yamatanuki, and wanted to test it out.
How'd it do?
I was just the other day, I was making them. I made some more. I made a couple. Do I have any? No, but I haven't got a fish yet. So yeah, I was just messing with them, making them.
Another thing that I've used it for, and I've caught a few bass on, I put it on my chatterbait trailer.
Really?
Yeah. And so this tail, it's just a thicker, fatter trailer for
girthier.
So, yeah. So you you got to put some super glue on it, but that's actually worked. So cooler lid, my man.
Looks like we need to get you working with Yamamoto, the number of these you're selling to people.
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
Cooler lid. I know you bought them. Have you caught anything on them? That's what I need to know.
Ooh, that's what I was going to add. So yes. So the whole thing with me was I bought them, like you were said, around pads and stuff. And I didn't catch anything flipping around that stuff.
Okay.
I did, however, catch them bouncing on the bottom like I would a finesse jig.
Yep.
In colder water. Last year, toward the end of the year, we ended up getting blown off the lake. It's like 30-some-mile-an-hour winds. But that lure was crushing them that day. I think I had 7 or 8 on that. Throwing it out on rocky drop-offs, letting it sink because they're heavy. I think like 6/8, 7/8, like almost just under an ounce. Yeah. And letting it hit and just popping it down the rocks and just, in that colder water.
It's a slow fall.
It was awesome.
Perfect.
So, yeah, I need to give it more time pitching it around wood and stuff. But yeah, and the reason that was because I was watching Cody Meyer was talking about it. He went over to Japan and fished with the guy that invented them or helped invent them. I don't remember. Anyway, he was in Japan fishing, and that's how they were fishing, and just throw it out on the bottom and then just hop it like a little finesse jig. It's essentially just bouncing on the bottom. I was like, So,
two things. One, they come in a 2.5 inch. I don't use those.
Oh,
Three
same.
3.5 inch is what we have. They just came out with a 4.25. And so
Super girth.
I need to
How
get
heavy
my
is that
hands
thing?
on one of those and see what I can do with that. But it's only on Tackle Warehouse. I can't find them anywhere else. I think they have them. There it is.
Here we go.
There it is. 4.25.
4.25 inch. Let's see. What's the weight on it?
It doesn't say.
Oh, it doesn't.
No.
Undisclosed.
It doesn't say. It's a super
5/8.
secret.
Oh my gosh. They can't even tell you how heavy it is because they're embarrassed about it.
I mean, I'm probably pulling out my 6/0 hook. Maybe bigger.
Wow.
Who knows?
Yeah, interesting. Okay, I was definitely not expecting you saying that was your PB catcher. Okay,
Stupid.
it's a cool lure.
Creek,
Yeah, it's
Creek Crawler
interesting
wrote
lure.
me back. He's like, user deleted. He's like, I don't want to hear you stupid.
Just as dumb as Wacky Your Egg deleted.
Yeah, right. I just got back from Pennsylvania about 3 weeks ago and was fishing smallmouths and rivers there. They were nailing this as well. So I don't know. If you're a
Okay.
smallmouth fisherman, I would probably, if I had the chance to do it again, I'd size down to 2.5 inch for the smallmouth. But they were still hitting the 3.5. There it is. There's the 2 baits, folks. That has just been my bass layers. There you go.
Catch them on the little poops.
There you go. Spinning rod.
Joshua, that does happen. If one messes with wood, one will one day get stuck in the wood. Yes, pitch to wood, get stuck in wood. Dude, there's so many fish on wood. The number of people that have messaged me from that stupid saying, because I say it all the time on my channel, find wood, pitch to wood.
Yeah.
And the number of people that have been like, I've heard your stupid voice in my head and I've done it and caught a fish. Thank you, Devin. I'm like, yes, good.
Especially right now. Like bass is starting to make their moves. And right now is the time to do it, right? You can still catch them any time of the year. They're sitting on that structure, but on that cover. But right now, as they're making their way back to the shallows, that's where you're going to pick them up.
Staging up, getting ready.
Yep, 100%.
Find wood, set the hook on wood. Yeah, that happens. Okay, so that was going to be kind of part of my second question was, actually, you know what? I'm going to twist this one. I don't know how big into gear you are. I know you did get the spinning reel last time we were talking.
I'm about to get more into it.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, I bring this one up. I forgot about that. Let's go favorite setup this year. Do you have a piece of gear? And this could be rod or reel. Do you have a favorite piece of gear that you've been like, I've really been surprised, or I just really like it because it's good? Price and stuff doesn't matter. I just want to know your honest, like, I really like this one. And then yes, give us a sneak peek into. You said you got some new goodies. If you can give us a hint.
I do. I got some things coming on the monthly. If you ever heard of Fish Vault, we'll talk about that in a second. It's kind of fun.
No, tell us.
Oh yeah. So my favorite setup right now is my swim jig setup, which is just my jig rod. So I have Impulse. It's going to be an extra heavy, extra fast, kind of broomstick type of thing. And so I like it. Impulse rods. I fish all of Impulse rods right now. I don't have a signed contract with them, but I do work with them, and I really like their stuff. So I just got a new shipment of like 6 rods that just came in, and I'm getting ready to pull them back into the rotation.
Are they on TW or no?
I don't know. Okay. I order straight through their website, so Impulse Rods.
Let's look it up.
So this is a company started by, oh man, professional angler. Forget his name. His name's on one of my rods.
Impulse. Oh my gosh, what happened? This isn't the right thing.
And then I got a Corrado K, and that's my favorite reel. The thing is just delicious, and it's the most expensive reel I have. So I'm always nervous when I have that combo out. But yeah, between those two, that's by far my favorite reel. Actually, I need to get a few more of them. There it is.
Oh, Zell Roland did it?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to get one of the old Zell Rolands.
There you go.
Is this it? 7.3 extra heavy, extra fast?
I think mine's a 7. That might be. I think mine may be. They make a 7.4.
Is this the one you have? That's sick.
I have a few of those. These are their generation. These are their most expensive rods. I think they run like $250. Yeah. But that I have a lot. I have a few of these, and that is the one I have. It's either a 7.3 or a 7.4. But they also have the Energy series, which I have probably half my arsenal is the Energy series. So these things run around. They have the cork handles versus the wind grips. They run around $150. And also excellent rods. So I actually run my Yamatanuki on an energy rod.
Did you have? So is Zell Rolling the one that helped make them, or did they just have the Zell Rolling
I think
rod?
that's his. I think that's actually his. I think he may have started the company.
Oh, okay.
Not entirely sure on that, but nonetheless,
That's
solid.
cool if it
I've been
is.
using
He's
them
a
for about a year and a half now.
legend in those. Did you say? And I'm sorry, you said it before. Which did you say you had the 7?
I
Which
think
one?
I have a 7. I have a 7.9 ledge rod, but I also have. I think it's a 7.4. It's not the Energy series. It's the other ones that you're on.
Oh, I thought you said it was Energy. Good Lord, get with it,
That was
Debo.
my Yamatanuki. I have a dedicated setup for that. There, Gen 2. There we go. So it's going to be their heavy casting rods. 7. Is there 7.4 in there?
7.3.
Maybe it is a 7.3. I was going to bring them down here with me. I should have brought it down so I can just share because I literally have them hooked up right now in my garage.
That's all right. Yeah, these are cool. I really like that green. That's sick. That's something you don't see.
Yeah, it's a neat.
That's cool.
Neat paint job there. And the sensitivity on it's sick because you can see the open seating right there. So you feel
Exposed.
freaking
blank.
everything. Yeah, everything. It's a solid setup.
Neat. I've heard of them, but I've not really looked into them. Especially, I'm kind of tempted to get that Zell Rolling top water. That was one I lost. Speaking of the Corrado K, that was one that got in the wash. I thought it was the Corrado, the new one, the M, but it wasn't. It was actually my old Corrado K that I had on it. So, Ooh, that's a good point. I'm not a fan of those. Actually, I don't care if it's straight fluorocarbon stuff, but for braid, I hate micro guides. Are those micro guides?
I think those are micro guides, but I typically I only have braid on my frog rod. So it's all fluoro. I don't have any issues.
That's the one I super hated on. Micro guides on a frog rod. If you've not fished heavy stuff and you try to tell me that you like micro guides on a frog rod, I don't believe that you've fished heavy stuff. And not even really that heavy stuff, just gloopy stuff. Because I've had it multiple times where you get that gloop and it gets at the tip of it and you can't even reel. It gets so hard and stuck in there. Let's see. Here was a question for you, I think.
Oh yeah.
I'm really impressed with the Lose Hypermags. Darren, do you like the Hypermag spinning reel?
I do. That is the smoothest spinning reel I have ever had my hands on. I know. Now, granted, it's a pretty expensive rod. I mean, it's real. It's like $200, but it is super nice. I actually had, and this is what's great about Lose. I actually had an issue on it. I was river fishing with it, and the load side was just giving me a lot of friction. I don't know why.
Wrong button.
And so I called them up, and then I had to take a couple pictures of it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll send you out another one." So I have my newest one, and it is just fantastic. It really is fantastic.
That's good because I've heard mixed stories since they went to whoever that was that bought them all out. I had. Well, actually, I guess I've never dealt with Lose directly, but that's good to hear that you had a good experience working directly with them.
Well, yeah, it was straight with them, and they were like, "Hey, scratch off the serial number so you can't warranty this thing again." And I was like, "Great, not a problem." And the ironic thing, I didn't buy the first one; I won it in their mock tournament early on in the year. But still, they honored it.
Like, but yeah, exactly.
It literally after they honored it, it was at my door like the next day. I was like, okay, that's legit. I have that one. That's a nice little short.
I'm thinking hard about this one because I had a 6.68. What was it? I had my Tatula 70 on it, which was tough because I really like that reel. It was a little loud though. But that with what was that was on there? It was the Corrado, Shimano Corrado rod.
Yeah,
it was a sweet little combo. Yeah, I'm digging that rod.
Now their website is kind of neat. So if you're kind of like trying to figure out rod, what could I fish on this rod? If you go up to their, not the Energy series which you're on, but the other ones with the cool looking paint, and you click on any of their any of those rods. Just click one down below. And any of those. Okay, great. Now, if you scroll down, it'll tell you what it's good for fishing. This is great for jerk baits, your shallow crankbaits. And
I
it'll have.
love. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I'd just say this has always been super helpful for me, especially if you're learning rods, because I'm really about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I would just use kind of the same rod just for everything. But until I got into technique specific rods, it is unbelievable how different how it changes the game. It really does. Now it's super expensive to do that. Don't get me wrong, but to use a lure that and a rod that was specifically designed for that weight and type of lure changes how you handle that fish, how you catch that fish, how you can work that lure through the water. It's actually quite amazing.
So that's what, yeah. So like the company that comes to mind, I was talking about Kistler before, very similar to this. I love when companies do this and lay this out. The argument that I've heard from people is companies are just trying to sell you more by labeling this on a, like, let's say jerk baits. They label this rod jerk baits. They're just trying to sell you more. I understand the point. Like if they print that on the rod, like instead of this saying impulse here, it just said jerk bait rod, right?
Right.
I understand where people are coming from with that, right? However, companies, just like you're saying, people, especially if you don't know what you like, if you haven't tried a bunch of different rods and brands, there's so much out there. It's overwhelming.
It is.
So I really like it when they do this instead, and even print it on there. Dobbins does it too, where they'll give you like fluke, shaky head, like they'll put on there what they recommend.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that's all it's for. Or if they give you a chart like this, hey, this is what we recommend it would be good. But I might like to fish look at a chatterbait. You ask 5 different guys what rod they like to fish a chatterbait on. Good chance you'll get 5 different answers, right? But I think this is helpful when they at least give you some ideas like, I want a topwater walking bait rod. I don't really know what would be good for it. So I understand where people are coming from when they make that argument, but don't look at it that way. Just look at it as a recommendation and kind of go off what you've used or like. So that's kind of my only gripe on that, is when people are like, oh, they're just trying to sell more. Well, maybe
they are trying to sell more, but they're also trying to give you information to make an informed decision.
Right.
And this is what I like about it. Like you have, especially if you're going to drop $250 for a rod, you're typically going to drop $250 for the rod and for the type of lure that you like to fish, and it's your confidence bait. And so you don't want to F that up. That's for sure. You want to make sure you're getting the rod that's specific for that particular type of lure, especially if you're going to fish it 95.
Yeah, and the other thing that's a great point to bring up too. That's what I tell people as well, is don't worry about like a rod specific. Like most of things you can like do, whatever with. But if you really have something that you're like dedicated to and you really want to get good with it, like I love fishing jerk baits. I fish jerk baits 9 out of 10 times I go. I would say don't be afraid to spend a little more on a rod dedicated to that, and have one like if you want, like, I want one rod for this. Don't be afraid to spend a little bit more and get one, tailored specifically to it for what you like.
Yeah. No, 100%. That's a
TFO
really great advice.
Too. And I'm sorry, you might have been talking there. Sometimes if I have an idea.
No, it's all good. Fish Vault. Have you ever heard of Fish Vault? I forgot to talk about this.
Oh, no.
Once again, I actually don't have any signed contracts with anybody. So I just partner with companies that I like. And Fish Vaults. So Fish Vault is a monthly subscription, like on freaking crack. And so it's stupid. So, you got your like monster bass, like $30 a month. This one, there you go.
No,
I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not calling you out.
So those are lure boxes. This is like a fishing gear box. It's $160 a month. And you get like, I got a Yeti cooler, a Yeti Go box, and you get sometimes reels. You get like electric fillet knives. I mean, it's like,
I've never even heard of such a thing.
It's the next level if you're really into it. And just, don't get me wrong, that's inexpensive.
That sounds dangerous for me to look into.
It is. It really is. Family owned, veteran owned. If you ever heard of Hunt Vault, that's their more popular brand. That's how they got started, I think 8 years ago. And then they launched Fish Vault. And so let's go check this out just for a second.
Yeah, I can give you share too if you want to bring it up. I'm going to get the giveaway getting started here because we're at an hour. I couldn't believe we're already at an hour, and we're going to stay on. Do you have like an hour and a half? So another 30 minutes.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll stay on for another 30 minutes because I know I've got one more question for Darren, and then I want to kind of open it up since he has a good good brain of knowledge here for us to pick. And actually, I think you're kind of you might already have something ready there, but my other
I do.
question.
I'm ready. Let me share it real fast.
Can you do share? Then I think I can just give you control.
Boom. There you go. You got to bring it
I
up.
think it
All right,
shows
this is
this.
fish
Yep,
fault.
there
So
you go.
some of the stuff that's in these things, like, I mean, you can kind of see it here. You got rod holders, you got Garmin watches, 6 Sense. They have lures and stuff in there as well. But so the stuff you get in there are just higher price points for things, just not lures yet, castable GPS systems. So just all kinds of fun stuff. Nonetheless, I look forward to this because I love gear, but I don't typically like just go out and buy it. And so this is going to really force me, and they're going to be getting a lot of the stuff that's just coming onto the market for the first time. I'm getting some reels that I haven't used before, and there's going to be some lures I haven't used before. It's kind of coming new to the market. So I'm looking forward to this. We'll see. I get it. I'm geeking out, and I'm all in. And most people can't afford $160 a month or don't want to, but man, I'm really looking forward to this. So if you want to live vicariously through me, of
That's
course,
fun. That does look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have the extra money, like if you just really hate, like I honestly hate shopping. And if it wasn't for online stuff, Monster Bass, I've always been honest about it from day one. I mean, you get some cool stuff in the boxes. Sometimes you get dumb stuff. Like sometimes you get a Lunker Hunt spider thing that's dumb and I would never touch. But I will say that there are things in there that will tempt you and get you out of your comfort zone to use stuff that you haven't used. Now, if you already know what you like and you've got extra money laying around, I would never advise a fishing box like Monster Bass or anything like that because you already know what you like. You fish for a while, but if you're kind of new into it, it's kind of a fun thing to have and get new stuff and check out. So that's the way I can see this being as well. Yeah.
100%. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. I already got my first box. I'm already using it's a Yeti Go box. So I have all my line and my extra reels that are in there. It's like, oh, this is kind of, I would have never have bought it, but I will definitely use it. It's one of those things. Like, all right, here we go. Should be good times.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I've never heard of them. Oh, Bass. So is it through Bass University? Is that who?
They also have lure boxes through Bass University as well. So I think the idea is you get the lures and then you can go over to the video and watch how that lure is particularly played out. I'm not entirely sure. This is all kind of new to me. But nonetheless, great guys to work with. So looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. Cool. More to come. All right. What was your question?
Okay. First off, I think I need to ban some people. I'm going to have to ban, let's see, who was it before? Bassless, and then also going to have to ban Mike M. His hashtag guess. People like to guess what my hashtag is going to be. And it's really just a way for them to make fun of me. Yeah. So, Steven, we'll be banning Steven too. Steven, it's a damn or. You people, and hey, see, at least we got Herb calling it out right.
Here's the question. If it didn't have that cut on it that has the water, that keeps the water from dripping down it, would you have tipped your kayak?
Oh, that's what that for. I thought that was like a hook to grab stuff.
No, I think it's actually to keep the water from, it'll drip off instead of coming all the way down and running down your hands. I don't know. I don't usually use a paddle hole that much. In fact, I forgot it the last 2 times and didn't actually need it because I'm pedal driving and I got a motor, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's for.
Yeah, I will say I've never once felt unsafe in my pedal kayak ever. And not only did I feel unsafe trying to get my way wormed out of there with that paddle, I also hate paddling. So if I didn't have my pedal kayak, I think I would have just let my kayak sink. And if I had to paddle away. It's rough, man. I've got jacked up shoulder though. So, and that was the other bad part is, so I've dislocated my shoulder like 18 million times and it's so weak. And I used to lift all the time and it was pretty good built and they were strong. Well, I haven't lifted in 5 years since COVID, working from home. I'm kind of a turd now. But anyway, I got to the edge and I had one hand on my kayak and one hand on the dock. And these guys that were watching, that were in the campground were watching me, busted ass to get around in their truck, which hats off to them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, busted ass to get around to the dock and make sure they're like, oh my God, are you all right? Do you need help? And I'm like, oh, thank you guys. You didn't need to do that. because the time they got there, I was already at the dock. But super cool of them to do that, because they didn't need to do that at all. But he's like, here, I'll gives me his hand. Here, I'll pull you out. I'm like, oh, I got it. And I kind of pushed myself up and kind of did the 1-2, and like I used to do in the pool. I used to do that all the time. Go to do that, my shoulder goes pop. Didn't pop out, but it's just a huge pop. And dude, it has been like super weak ever since. So yeah, I'm just kind of an old wasting away shell of my my former self that can't even pull myself out of the water. So anyway, we've got all these guesses. Nobody got it. I always love seeing guesses though. That's fun because today we've got hashtag to be entered. Hashtag share, because I'm such a nice, loving guy. I'm going to share with all you and see him jig. Hashtag bad shoulders. Hashtag make paddling great again. I didn't love Steven, man. I got to shout you out, dude. Steven's a paddler, and man, my shoulder would not stand up to that. And yes, I am totally going to 300 kick you in the next time we're on the dock and I meet you out there. So hashtag share, you'll be entered. I will give you a bag of stuff and let me know when you send the email. You do have to be present to win. You do have to email me a screenshot of your YouTube so I know it's you and not somebody else trying to just get free stuff.
How many times have people done that?
I think I've had like 3 or 4.
Just write you like, hey, I was a winner. Here's my address.
I was a winner. I'm like, okay. Well, send me your YouTube screenshot. Yeah.
Did you ever fall for it?
Hats off for trying. No, because I was asked for a YouTube screenshot. And they're like, oh, they'll just send me a picture of chat. And I'm like, no, I need like go to your YouTube and send. And they're like, oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't win. I misunderstood. I thought I was a winner. And I'm like, how'd you misunderstand that there, buddy? I never called you out, but okay. Oh, you read my comment and I thought I was the one. I never even read your comment, but okay. So I guess you can't fault them for trying. Worst I can say is no, but so when you email me, let me know what kind of fishing you do or what kind of lures you're looking for, and I will try to hook you up if I have some of those. Okay, so, and this maybe is kind of in your gear stuff here. This was the last question I had for you. Do you have a specific piece of gear, rod, reel? We could even go lure that you haven't used that yet that you're really looking forward to testing out, trying?
Yes. Well, oh man, this is interesting. Lure gear that I looked forward to trying. You got 84 entries already. That's wild. 85.
Oh, we should easily be up over 100 something. We're only at 172. Usually we're about 200 right now. So I don't know that we'll get up to 150. We better be over 100. If we don't have over 100 entries in here, I'm not doing it. So 85 of you guys are good. The other 15 of you bums that need to enter, get to it, or I'm not giving anything away. It's all or nothing deal.
I'm to the point now where I have so much. The gear that I buy is specific because I know I want it. Right.
Okay.
And so I don't have a lot. I mean, you ask me in 6 months, I'm going to have so much gear from this box that I'm like, I want to try this. I want to try that. I'm trying to think of a particular lure. There's one that I've been fishing a lot lately and I haven't dialed in. So I actually look forward to getting more time on the water with it. It's kind of a new technique. I don't talk about it very much because usually I like to fish something for a full year before I start, talking about a whole lot, but it is making my September lure video. And that's the punch rig. And so
okay,
I got the it's just an interesting setup, right? You got to have, if you don't do like research, you need a bobber stop, you need your punch weight, you're gonna need your punch hook, you need some type of skirt, and you're gonna need, of course, your creature bait or whatever it is. And so one of those things is like, all right, because a lot of times when that open water bite is off, they're not hitting the swim jig, they're not hitting Yamabuki, they're not hitting the wacky worm, they're not hitting the crankbait, whatever it is. It's signaling to me they're likely they're under the pads somewhere, and there's a lot of pads where I fish right now, and so I look forward to, especially rolling into September, utilizing that punch rig to pull them out of the pads. So I got my 65-pound braid, and just look, that hook set is incredibly addicting. Just kind of flip that into a little hole, and before you know it,
you see that it's like underwater frogging, kind of.
Yeah, it's It's a fun bite.
91 entered. We need 9 more. 92
do.
entered. We need 8 more. Better get to it. We're not doing it until we get 100 people entered.
I feel like
Mike
I should
S.
enter. I'm not entering, but
Enter. Hey, if you win, I'll send you a box of stuff. Do it.
Oh man.
Mike S. Oorah. Simplify, do or die. Thank you, Marine. Thank you to all of our service veterans out there. Always tip the hat. You guys and gals have my full backing. Try big swim baits. Yeah, I've tried them. I suck with them.
Yeah, I'm not a big. The only big swim bait, and I'll start rolling them in late September, October when the water starts cooling down really good is the mag draft, 8-inch mag draft. That's the swim bait.
I didn't really like the mag draft.
Oh,
I tried slow rolling it and the action sucked. Maybe it's the one I got, but
were you 8-inch or 6-inch?
6-inch.
Yeah, the 8-inch it's a whole different game.
Okay.
KL is just, and I try and what's the one that Berkeley makes? It's kind of similar.
Coal shad.
Is it? It's a coal shad.
That's
yeah. So I've been trying that one. I don't like it as much. It do have some better design when it comes to the hook keepers and stuff, but nonetheless. What PFD, you guys?
Peyton says I won. Yeah, basically Peyton.
You're already getting emails.
Yeah,
I won. 97.
3 more. We need 3 more entries. We're not giving it away. Mauricio asked, "What PDF you guys using?" I'll honestly say I watched your video on that, Darren, beforehand because you have I don't remember what name it was.
Raku.
Yeah, because you talked about the pedal versus paddle, and when you're leaning back,
yes,
how that could be kind of uncomfortable. I found my Chinook on sale for I think $80. They were experiencing them out or whatever.
Price. Yeah.
So I got it, and luckily, I don't know, maybe if it's because I'm a little bit taller or something, but I have not had an issue. But that was a really good point that you brought up. I could see if you were especially like a shorter person on some of those seats, that could definitely, because it's like what I'm talking about is I have the Chinook and it's got like 2 big like puff things here. Then it's got a big like puffy thing on your back. The
high back float back here.
Yeah, float back here. So I could see that getting in the way if maybe you were a little shorter. So that's a really good call out.
So everyone listening to PFD, so the Raku and the Chinook are literally the exact same on the front. Like we have the same front, but the only difference between the two is the high back float versus the Raku. The flotation is actually spread out all the way along the back, and so when you sit in that chair, especially if you like to recline too, Debo, if you like to recline and fish, that's when it could push up on the back there. Nathan. Look at that.
Nathan Souza. Okay, so you have to be present to win. Are you here? Real Daddy, you did call that out earlier. I'm sorry. What do you think about casting rods? The first casting rod I got and held it, I hated it. I thought it was stupid because their grips are like a Kevlar material. Think of like a basket weave, like a wicker basket that weave.
Oh.
And they're hard. And the first time I grabbed it, I'm used to, maybe like EVA or something like that where it's got some kind of give. It's not like that. It's hard. And I thought these things are crap.
Is it sticky?
It's not sticky. It's hard. And you would think that it's going to be uncomfortable. That was the first thing that hit my mind. And Nathan, if I've missed you here, sorry, I'm going back and looking. Don't think I'm going to skip you yet. Oh, he's here. Okay. Where was I going with it? The cast rod. So yeah, it's hard. However, after you use it and get used to it, great rods. I think I've got 3. I've needed to do reviews and I've not done them because I'm a bum. But yeah, the first thing I'll say is it will feel uncomfortable, I guess for me anyway, but you get used to it and does have a pretty decent grip on it. But yeah, they're hard. So if you don't like that,
I've got questions.
Yeah. Okay.
So if it's like that wicker plastic and it's not sticky,
it's not plastic, it's Kevlar. So it's super strong stuff, but it is hard.
So, but do you fish in the rain?
Uh-huh.
Is it slippery?
No, because it's not grippy, but I think it's a matter of
pressure.
A matter of like resist. What would you even call stippling? Kind of like if you're a pew enthusiast, stippling on that where there's like.
Got it. I know what you're talking about.
Like scratches or something where it's what's the word I'm looking for?
I think you actually said. I think it's stippling. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Like not resistance, but what is it like when you?
Just texturized.
Yeah, texturized. I can't think of the like a friction, I guess. I can't think of the word. But anyway, yeah, it's like a friction, like it just kind of grabs. And I'll grab one here and I can show you, but
Nice.
it's an interesting okay, Nathan Lures. So let me put my thing here. Yeah, it's an interesting, very different type of rod. And yeah, for sure when I first got it,
Knurling. That's it.
I was like,
Knurled.
this thing sucks. Knurling. No, I was just trying to think of the word, like when you grab something and it's like doesn't slip. I guess friction maybe is probably the best serration. Yeah, Dustin, I hope you're good, man. Give me cork all day. Yeah, I really don't have a favorite. I like Win. I like cork. I've tried some different ones,
My
but
issue with cork is I feel like it's slippery for me. I've almost lost 2 rods now on hook sets because it slipped out of my hands. I fish in the rain from time, but I never have that issue with the wind grips.
yeah, I feel like I've kind of had issues with all of them at one point or another. Like once they kind of get wet and slime, I don't know that there's like a perfect, I don't know.
Not fishing in the rain. I've never had an issue outside of
Yeah, right.
fishing.
Yeah. But once you get some slime and like wet, especially, yeah, when it's raining. Nathan, if you can email me, debosfishing@gmail.com, screenshot or your YouTube, and what lures and such you would like, I will hook you up. Let me grab one. Darren, if you want to grab if you see a question or if
I
you
did
want
see
to
a question. How about those seat cushions? You guys into those?
go for it.
This
Tell
is
them.
interesting. No,
Preach. Preach.
I'm not against seat cushions. I don't use one. One because I think they're one of the most ridiculously priced kayak fishing accessory out there. Because it's literally just a piece of foam that has a name on it. And so not a huge fan myself, but then again, I don't have any issues with that. I got a nice seat on my Bonafide P127, but I don't know. I know a lot of people swear by them, and there's like lumbar supports out there for them, but I think like $80. How much are these stupid things? Plus, if you wanted to get one, really, you can just go to Walmart and get it for like 25% of the price. Oh, okay.
Not,
Is that what you're giving away? You just
hey, I always say if you're over here, Darren, you are more than welcome to come over and shop and try any of the stuff you want here and take a
oh.
bucket home. Okay, so this is what I was going to show you. So these are hard, but it's like this weave. So it's like this
Okay.
frictiony, like when you grab onto it. I mean, if it gets slimy and wet, I'm sure it probably could be, but it's just that see how it's kind of
Yeah.
knurled in there. But one thing I did notice is it started to fray a little bit around this.
Oh, no
Now, it
bueno.
hasn't come apart, yeah, or anything, but and up here where you hold it, I mean, you're not super rough on this part, but bank fishing and stuff, that hitting the concrete and rubbing up on stuff. But otherwise, yeah, I really liked it. This was the chatterbait. Use this one quite a bit. Solid rods. It does have micro guides on this one. I forget which line this one is. I don't even know. This is the icon or whatever. Did have micro guides, but again, if it's not braid, I don't really care. Just hate it for braid.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber. I thought it was wait. Let's look, because I could have swore it said some sort of Kevlar. Is it carbon fiber? Maybe I was wrong. I could be wrong. I admit
I got a
when I'm
couple
wrong.
people saying the grips are carbon fiber. Interesting.
Oh, okay. Carbon fiber. I could have swore they said it was some sort of Kevlar mix or something. But if I'm wrong,
Okay, that's unique. I don't think I've ever had my hands on one of those before.
yeah, they're pretty cool. I liked them. I've got two. I've got that one. The crank one I've used a little bit more, was more wore out. I have before, but yeah, this one I like the jerkbait or crankbait rod. I like that chatter one too.
They got people still writing share in here. I think a little late to the game.
I think, so yeah, sometimes if people are behind, they end up hemorrhoid pillow. So yeah, cushions. Yeah, I ended up getting a cushion when I ordered from Native. I had to get my other wheel because my Sidekick only came with one leg. The guy lost one of the legs out of the back of his truck, so I had to order that.
No.
But
Oh,
yeah,
so you
they
have the
had
sidekicks.
cushions.
That actually made my video today.
Yeah, the wheels, dude. Yeah, trying to move that around without it would be awful.
No, it's
100% get the wheels.
Do you have the pneumatic or the plastic?
I ended up getting the plastic because people said have fun getting those inflated tires under the water when you get back. No, do you have a trick for it? Okay, what's the trick? Because it was a pain in my butt.
Well, one of the tricks I just get in the water during the summer. Now, granted,
Okay.
when it's cold,
Sure.
I just turn around on my kayak and pull them out and put
I
them down.
tried doing that and I was scared of tipping. So
Oh,
I got in the water too. So
yeah.
and that's fine. Yeah, in the summer, yeah, I just got in the water, pushed them. Otherwise, when I was like next to the dock trying to do that, that was sketchy for me because you can't one hand it. You got a two hand. It's a two
You got a
hand
two-hand.
job.
You almost gotta
Yeah, you have to like
yeah, so
force it
you
under.
got a pretty good balance, and I've done it probably a million times, and so it's almost like second nature. The key there is you gotta make sure every pocket on your freaking PFD is zipped up because anything in
Dude.
them going in the drink, folks.
Yeah, I think the second time out, I was second time out after again watching one of your videos. I lubed up my drive, watched your video on it. You did a great job on that.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you.
again. Got that all out, was pedaling. I'm like, dude, I was pissed off because I'm like testing it in the truck. I'm like, God, this thing is butter smooth. Get out on the water, and I'm like, dude, this is so slow. What in the hell is wrong? And finally, after I don't know how long, I'm like, piss. Steven, can you help me? My wheels have been down. They had like moss and crap. I was just like
dragging
dragging
acres.
moss and crap.
You're not the only
all
one.
through.
You're not the only one. I've done that a couple times.
First time first and last time I did that, thank goodness. So okay, cash runs. That's what I was going to share here. I get sidetracked really easy. My focus is horrible. What was I was coming over here to look at something. Just speaking of, now I don't even remember what I was going to look for. Somebody asked me, oh,
Carbon fiber.
carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Oh, see, carbon fiber rod, but it's a Kevlar split grip wrap.
There you go. Which feels great in the hand.
I will admit when I'm wrong, but I wasn't wrong on this one.
Interesting. I'm curious why it's fraying.
I don't know. Guess Kevlar. Well, if you think of Kevlar, if you think of like a bulletproof vest, it's like
It's
little
just micro.
tiny.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Huh. But yeah.
$85 replacement fee. So if you ends up fraying too much, well, $85 to get yourself.
There you go. How much is this rod normally? 200? 230. Yeah, get them on sale. 27% off.
Nice.
Tackle Warehouse. I feel like people are hating Tackle Warehouse now.
Oh, why?
I don't know. I saw Grant say he was like, if he's on his last leg, he finally have to order from them. Of course, he worked with American Legacy.
I got two. Yeah, right. I got two stories for you for Tackle Warehouse. One,
I
tried to get recently 4 months ago. I ordered the G-Crack Emo Kamushi, which is a Q bomb. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the round one.
Yeah, the super round one with the crazy tentacles and all 70 directions.
While I was messing
there
with
it is. No,
no.
A fuzzy dice.
No. This is Debo taking some of his extra plastisol, cutting it into a square, and then putting stuff into it.
You're just pulling strands through.
And I made my own bootleg version. Yeah, I did this while I was making the skirted Yamato.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Like, I can't find them. They're so expensive. And I'm like, I got extra plastisol laying around. I'm going to make some.
Cutting them up in squares, running threads through them. That's amazing.
Start selling these at a store near you for a low fee of only $10 each.
That's ridiculous. That's what they look like, which is ironic. Anyways, I ordered these things 4 months ago, and they were back ordered. I'm like, okay, cool. Back ordered. It literally took 4 months for them to get them.
I have had that too. Yeah, that is frustrating.
So that's
very frustrating.
But
especially when you go back and look, I've had it sometimes, and I love Tack Warehouse. I mean, obviously, I'm partnered with them, but like I always say, I'm going to shoot straight with you guys. I've had that, and especially when you go back and look on the site and they're in stock, like where I could go back and order right now, and they still haven't sent me my back order. That's not right now, but it's happened to me in the past where that's been the case.
I wrote them a couple times. They're like, oh, they're back ordered. We're supposed to get them in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I was like, they're just for whatever reason not getting the product. And then this is the bizarre part. I wrote them again. It's like, just freaking cancel it. It's been 4 months, right?
Right.
If you guys can't figure out your supply chain or can't work with G-Crack to get it, then cancel it. And then all of a sudden, they had half my order, and they sent it to me. So I'm like, wait a second. I'm scratching my head. This doesn't.
See, luckily,
seem right.
I'm huge on customer service, so that would piss me off. The few times I've had to call them, they've been great. And pretty much any of them, I think I've had to call Omnia once, American Legacy a couple times. I really haven't had so far in the fishing stuff a bad experience. My only thing would be, I know I've shared my American Legacy thing, is when they were backward on a rod. I just never heard from them. I never got an email or anything.
Huh.
So to me, that's a pretty simple fix. And the last time that happened, I called them because I didn't know that Dobbins ships directly from Dobbins when you order from them.
Oh, they don't run through Tackle Warehouse. Okay.
No, through American Legacy when I
Oh,
ordered through
got it.
them. So I called and they're like, "Oh, actually, that one's on back order, or they didn't have it or something." And one of the other rods they were out of, so they're like, "Yeah, Dobbins will be sending that to you." But they hooked me up on the other rod because they're like, "We don't have that one, but let me see what we've got." And she was super nice. So yeah, luckily the big ones I've been pretty lucky with, because that means a lot to me. Like, you get screwed on a customer service thing, there's a good chance I'm just gonna brush the mat and be like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm not
Plenty
even
of other people out there love your business.
taking my
I
money."
will
Yeah,
say that every time I wrote Tackle Warehouse, they were very responsive. I heard back within 24 hours.
that's good.
And to be honest with you, it might have been out of their hands, right? G-Crack's not sending them.
Right.
Maybe they're selling them all through their website and they don't have enough to. And so I get it. I don't think it probably wasn't Tackle Warehouse's fault. It's just who I particularly ordered it from. And they're pretty large. You think they would get their order first from G-Crack, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know. But what I do love about Tackle Warehouse, check this out. So I had I forget who was on my show. It was months ago, and they're like, "Hey, we got these really cheap. You heard of those trapper hooks?"
Yep.
And he was like, "Oh, if you go on there, you could. It's like $1.97 a pack." Well, I didn't realize this because I never really bought anything in bulk from Tackle Warehouse. But as you start adding things to your cart, if you add another one, then the price goes down on all of them. If you continue adding things to it, the price keeps going down. So I was like, okay. Before I know it, I'm like $40 into hooks because they were just so flipping cheap. Then I was
I
like,
remember
okay,
you saying that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then 50
You got hooked
bucks,
for
you
life.
get free shipping. So I'm like, well, I'm not just going to give you money for free shipping.
Wow.
And so before I got 800 hooks for 50 bucks. 800. And that's what I use a lot for the wacky rigs and stuff. They're perfect little hooks. I haven't had any issues with them. I mean, the company went out of business twice, so they're trying to get rid of that stock.
Right.
But my kids are getting ready to the age where they're going to start ripping through terminal tackles. So I was like, you know what? 50 bucks for 800 hooks.
Right.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Even if there's a couple bad ones out of the whole bunch. Yeah, exactly.
I haven't had an issue yet. Some people I've heard, I haven't experienced, but I've heard that that really sharp bend on big fish will break. I haven't ever
a weak spot in it.
that is a weak spot in the forging, but I don't know. You know how things in the fishing world, one person says it,
Right.
1,000 people repeat it, and it's actually kind of a fluke. I don't know because I haven't experienced yet, and I fished it quite a bit.
And negative. And I just now noticed that your hat was impulse rods. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Well, this came in that recent order I just got.
I like the black and green.
Yeah.
And the loud negative experiences always outweigh. There could be one bad experience for every 1,000 good ones, and you only hear about the one bad one, you know. So
100%.
Let's see. I think that was all of my questions. What else do you all have? Questions for myself, Darren, tonight? What do you guys got? I think already got emails. This better be you, Nathan, not some imposter. Let's check here. Yeah, one time I had I don't remember what it was. Yep, Nathan. Not sure really what to choose. Okay. It's the real Nathan. Please stand up. Let's see. Johnny, kind words, such a good person. That's why I follow your content. Well, I appreciate that, brother. If you're not following, and I guess I should have introduced you. I know I've had you on before. I apologize for that. Mr. Wendell, where can folks find you? Where should they subscribe to you, like you, and if they like that stuff, where are you at?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I started my YouTube channel, you got to try to find something where you don't have to spell it 90 different ways on 90 different platforms. And so I think I spent 2 or 3 days trying to figure out a name, and it was like, okay, it's got to come back to Wendell Fishing because the only thing I can keep consistent across all the platforms. So that's it. Every single platform is at Wendell Fishing.
Well, you did it right.
Yeah.
You did it the good way. There's Mike. Speaking of Mike over at Thunderhawk, good dude. Trapper hooks are out, but they got the best of show at ICAST the year they came out. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I don't know
I
how
don't know
much I
why
put into the whole ICAST stuff, but
why did they go out of business? I don't know that story. I know it's out there, but I haven't had taken the time to listen to it because
I have
I
no
mean,
clue.
for all intents and purposes, when I use it, it does trap them down in there. And so it's harder to spit. So logically it makes sense. And every time it's just sunk into that little square gap in those hooks. If you haven't seen them before, check them out. Trapper hooks. I wonder if they're still in Tackle Warehouse for super cheap.
I don't know. We can look here. Here's one to think about. Justin, what's your favorite fall big? Think big bite, big bait, bite, big bait, bite, big bite. Fish for bait for big fish. I don't know. We'll have to ask Darren for that because I only catch pound and a halfers around here.
I will still be throwing the swim jig through the fall, but as it gets colder, I already shared it. It's going to be the Mag Draft 8-inch for here in Ohio.
Really? So you have that
Yeah.
much? Like you've caught a bunch of fish on that?
I've
Really?
the majority of my early cold water fish is just slow rolling that, and I'm talking 50s, 50 degrees, 60 degrees. The bigs come up and just smash that thing.
Oh, they are still here. Yeah, I've got to get more time in with it, with them, any of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
their
I've not
treble
used
hooks
these. Yeah,
are
holy crap, 87% off a buck.
yeah
There you go.
for
You need
a
hooks.
4-pack.
Yeah, quarter piece. I've not used these, but Spear Point is kind of the same. Spear Point, like right when they first started, sent me some hooks and just asked for honest feedback, and I was like, "Yeah, like I'll
I've
be
gotten
honest,
honest
I don't."
feedback. They rust in about 3 seconds. There's my honest feedback.
Oh, did they really? I didn't have that problem with mine, but I was like, I don't know how much of a difference the gap's gonna make, but yeah, I mean they're fine hooks. I wouldn't bet kind of just like this because so the fish's mouth, the spot where it holds it, like has to be that size, right? If it's too big or if you hook it in a big spot and it can't fit in there, then it's kind of negated that whole scheme of, oh, they fit in here and they can't get off. So I don't know. Maybe it is a better hookup, maybe not. But yeah, my big thing is, do they come sharp?
Yes.
And are they consistently not breaking? And like you said, if you haven't had the issue, minus that one person, then
They are.
And I don't know how much I put on that either, because this bend, looking at it, isn't any different than the bend here. Like it's not a super sharp. Like I would get it if it was like mashed somewhere where it could weaken the integrity, but
like I said, I personally haven't had any issue, and they are stupid sharp, especially their treble hooks. Consistently sharp bite after bite after bite. So I will trade out a lot of my. That's the deal, really, of the century on this. On
because
the
they're
jabber hooks.
expensive. An 8-pack, let's see, size 4 is probably your most common. For how many do you get? 8-pack for 4, $1.97.
20 quarter. Right, that is
the deal.
right?
Yeah, quarter again.
And those are not just sharp after one bite, but bite after bite after bite after bite. I know they're sharp because I put one through my thumb.
Shank and extra heavy.
And
yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a great.
Put a bunch
deal.
of these in your cart once. The price goes down.
Yeah, it says buy more, save more, up to 50%.
Yeah, so you can get them for $1.
That's so 50 cents. 50 cents for that instead. Wow.
Yeah, when you get so many, that's when you start getting yourself in trouble. Before you know it, you have 800 hooks in your cart.
That makes me feel bad for them that they're basically just giving those away now. Yeah. That always hurts me. Like, somebody poured a bunch of work into this and tested it and is like, dude, this is going to be the thing. I've got the next, and to see a company like that, it's kind of sad.
Yeah. But the only thing I wish they're like the black nickel, because these will, if you don't watch it, they'll rust on you too if you leave them out.
Yeah, water's a bee around all that stuff.
See, Dustin in the comment section are saying they're brittle. So that's what I hear around. But like I said,
you can only go off of what you've experienced. So.
Right.
Tom, what's the deal with your lunker stick? Yeah, I busted it. I don't know. The Monster Bass lunker stick busted on a frog hook set. Hadn't had an issue since
Interesting.
then. Really like the rods, but snapped it.
Do you think that you compromised it like in transit some point, or do you think that
Not
it was
that I
just
know of.
literally okay?
Could have been. I mean, that's the thing is I never know. I could have stepped on it on the boat and not seen it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hadn't had an issue since then. Everything else had been solid. So yeah, I don't really look that bad on it. And that's any rod company. I mean, if you have those issues and it consistently happens, like here, for example, actually is a really bad to good example of a customer service deal. Um, oh my God, I had the name of the company. It just skipped out. Oh my God, Wesley Strader is sponsored by him.
Huh.
Has been for a long time. Powell rods had an issue there for a while of weak tips, and lots of people were complaining on it. Dad and I got in on a sale, and I bought 3 or 4 of them
Okay.
because they had like buy one get one free or for like 70. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, um, I broke a tip on one. Dad broke a tip on one. He's like, dude, and they
Oh
were like
wow.
200 something dollar rods, that we
Oh,
got on sale. So we're like super excited. I think it was buy one get one free is what it was. That's why we spent the money. Both of them broke. I was pissed off. Called them. They're like, "Oh my God, we're so sorry. We're gonna upgrade you to the." No, I'm sorry. The ones we got were the mid level, like 140
sure.
or whatever. They upgraded us. They're like, we know this is an issue. It's something with the way it's been rolled. I don't remember. However, they did the blank, but they upgraded us to 4 new ones on like the $250
Oh, okay.
version.
And
So never had any issues with those.
okay.
So yeah, good that they were looking into it. But that was one where I had heard it and I had known it, still got it, and it happened to me.
And it
Because a
happened to
lot of
you.
times, yeah, you get it, and it's like
Never
that's
happens.
yeah. I've never even seen anything close to that. So
Now I
I don't
will
put a lot
I,
into that.
I will say on the trapper. So I've been using the smaller hooks, and I typically have only used the treble and use a large portion of the like 1/0 type of size for my wacky worm. And so maybe the larger ones, which you're going to get a larger bass on a lot of times, you're fishing bigger lures, maybe they are brittle. So, to be continued. We will see.
Yeah, or it could have been, who knows? Maybe that person let that one sit out and had a little nick in it and it rusted there, and that was the spot that got compromised. So
That's what I always
yeah,
worry about when I hear rod stuff, because I've compromised rods just through poor handling and transfer, you shove in the back of the truck. You don't realize it, but your kayak shifts, and
yep.
doesn't take a whole lot, folks. Little nicks going to
What we're talking about is the rod tube when they roll it extremely thin. Imagine it like this cup, and what we're saying is compromised is imagine taking a cup and just putting a little dent in it like that. That's now a super weak spot in that rod where it's going to break. So you don't have to be super careful with your rods, but try not to ever like this is going to sound stupid. Try not to crush your rod. Try not to get anywhere where like any sharp points, like anywhere where a rod, try not to let it fall on anything sharp. Usually if you're laying it down, that's fine. But I noticed like if I accidentally drop it on a corner or something, like on a
oh,
corner of concrete,
oh,
and it had a little scratch there, I had a rod, ended up breaking there. I've accidentally stepped on rods like toward the back, back here, and you think it's not going to be an issue, and it will end up splintering up here, and you can tell where it started there. So yeah, think of it like a straw or something, and if you put a little weak spot in it, man, that's where it's going
well,
to go.
it's like scoring tile.
Yeah,
Score a
yeah,
little tile,
exactly.
pop,
Yep.
you crack it right there every single time. So it doesn't take a whole lot.
Cooler Lid's asking, what rod do you use for that 8-inch mag draft?
I use it's a 7.9 ledge rod. It's a Randy Haynes on the Impulse. So real big. That's a heavy bait. So I use a real big rod. What mods do you consistently do to a bait? Is that for you or for me?
I don't know. I'll say I don't really do a ton. I would say I always cut my frog legs to like 1.5 inches. I mean, I only want this much of frog legs on there. Long legs are not needed at all. And the only other thing I can think of that like kind of makes me OCD is like if you have a jig and you've got a skirt on it with a trailer, make sure the trailer is not completely covering up the trailer, or make
The
sure the
skirt.
skirt is not completely covering up the trailer. Like I'll always trim it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of them come super long. But if you've got your skirt hanging over the trailer, it doesn't have room to move, so you're just killing all that. That's
Yeah.
the two I can think of.
I just did a video, I think last month, 6 jig fishing modifications every bass angler should know, or something like that. And I typically, all my mods are around jigs. And that was actually one of the 6 that you just mentioned, but there's a few more. Sometimes I'll put eyeballs on my jigs, just a little color flash on there.
Like that. The old special realistic eyes.
Oh, there
Ooh.
you got sticker eyes that you
Ooh.
stick on there.
Well, I don't just stick them on. No, they're not. They're 3D. They're not just flat stickers. This makes
Okay.
all the difference. You put a real eye like that on it, fish can't. I've caught 5-pounders, 6-pound. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, eyes. I get it. Eyes
So
do, especially a spot to focus. I think it helps focus the head of it.
sure. No, I like it. So there's a few things, and at some point you were just kind of, where is the diminishing returns on
Right.
some of these, and some of it's just like, hey, once I do this, I feel more confident. And if that's what it is for you, then yeah, by all means do it, because that feeling is going to catch you more bass. That's for sure.
Yep. Andy, been purchasing the neoprene rod sleeves. I've got a couple, and I do like those a lot better. You don't get them stuck in the wicker cracks of the
Oh.
the weave.
So I
Having to
only
use
have the
a little bit.
weave ones.
Hmm.
So where do you get your neoprene from?
I think I've got a couple 6 Sense ones. I've got a couple of the Tackle Warehouse ones, and a Rod Glove, I think, was the most recent one I got.
Are they like the
I think was
same
the
thing,
company.
just different brands on it? I mean,
Yeah, it's just like
there.
like the real thick neoprene on some of the can koozies. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that. So like the
Okay.
hook don't really stick into it.
I
Like if
need to
you
look
really
into that.
jammed it, it probably would. But
I mean, when you're rolling with $250 rods, it's time to spend the extra, a little bit extra, and upgrade from the plastic Chinese finger trap to.
that's exactly what they're. Which, to be fair, I have not had issues with. Like they definitely are tip savers.
Yeah.
The only issue I've had is on micro guides. Is sometimes the micro guides will pop through those. So I
Mm.
suppose there's a chance that they could get broke or something. But yeah, for being just a cheap rod sleeve, they've helped a bunch, especially
Oh,
not tangling up and help tips.
when I went river fishing for smallies, my brother and I were just going from spot to spot to spot, and the cooler tipped over and landed on 2 of my rods and just completely broke the tips. I was like, oh, there went $350 just in rod tips. Some were salvageable,
Rough.
and so I put another tip on it. It just made it shorter and didn't have much of, of course, didn't have much to a tip of it because it wasn't. But nonetheless, I can't use my I have a yak rod, and that's completely done. It broke so far down, it's just worthless now.
Dave, it was probably
Ugly stick, wasn't
yeah, so it's probably the ugly stick GX2.
it? There was a quote. I think it was Loomis. He's like, "I can make for you a rod that never breaks. You just won't want to fish with it."
Ugly stick. Yeah, I mean, you can talk crap about them. They're one of the most sold, most used rods out there. I mean, they hold up. Not sensitive, but they hold up. Let's see. I think that's about it. Let's get one more good question. Yeah. Patrick, every time a treble touches a mesh rod sleeve, I need to cut them out. Dude, Wendell got it. It's you just squish it together like the old finger traps to get your finger out. Squish it together and the hook comes right out.
Yeah, there it
Don't
is.
force it. Don't try to pull it. Squish it together. It makes the holes bigger. Pull it out. Let's see. One more question, then we'll call it a night. I'll get him back to his fam, and it's getting late. I know, 9:30 here. Are you Central? Or are
Yeah,
you
it's
Eastern up there?
10:24 here. Yeah, I'm an hour
Oh,
ahead of
you're
you.
Eastern. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Okay, one more. Her ducket. Oh yeah, Mike. I did see that one earlier. I have heard that about ducket rods too. They were having quite a few issues with tip breaks. I've never actually owned a single ducket rod. All
Busby
right.
Mike. Treble.
I don't see any other questions. All right. Gator's saying great show. All right. I think we're going to call it there. Well, listen, give Mr. Wendell a follow. He's a wealth of information on the yak stuff. He has helped me in my journey. I know he's helped a lot of other folks, and just a good dude. Follow him at Wendell Fishing on all the things he already said earlier. Somebody else said that. Oh, I think it was Mauricio said he subscribed on the Instagram and YouTube. Brother from down in Brazil.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. All right, guys. Yep. Saying thanks, Wendell. Been fun. All right. Listen, love y'all. Thanks for watching. We will see you next live.